Hi, I'm Greg Choffi. It's my mother, Josephine Choffi.
Hi.
And our connection to the Boston Harbor Islands is with my father, Joe Choffi, who was a prisoner of war on Pedix Island, which was exclusively used for the Italians during World War II. And during that time, my mother had met my father on the island, and they ended up getting married. But I'm going to have my mother, Josephine, tell you the whole story of how it went down. And
Okay.
I'm going to be quiet for now.
Okay. Okay, here we go. I'm Josephine Choffi, and I met my husband Joseph on 1945 on Paddock Island because a number of Italians went there to stay to visit their Italian people, all the soldiers some were brothers, some were husbands, some were almost anything related, all friends. And so being 14, my mother would leave me home, so I ended up having to go with her. Consequently, I met this fella, and when he left, we started writing to each other. And from that, he asked me to marry him, so I did. I went to Italy and married him in 1949. And after that, we lived 50 years together, very nice, after 3 children. And we were quite happy, and now the good luck took him, but it was a very good experience. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other photos you can share with us?
Yeah.
We do.
Where did you get those two? Can you hold those two up and tell me a little more specifics?
Well, this one here is taken at Fort Andrews. My husband wasn't confirmed. We were Catholic, and he wasn't confirmed. Consequently, this fellow here, here on this side, he stood up for him, being his godfather there. And they took a picture, and I have this one. This one is of when I got married in 1949 in my husband's little hometown called Cervinara, Italy. And a year after, he come home here to the United States, and then we had 50 years together. So that's about
it being a prisoner?
Sure. For instance, here's a picture of him as prisoner of war with some of his fellow prisoners. My father was very young. He lied about his age in order to get into the Italian army back in 1939 and 1940. He was captured, and through a number of different channels, he ended up on Pedix Island. During the time, the Department of the Military decided to isolate the Italian prisoners for one reason or another. And Pedix Island was used to house a number of Italian prisoners. My father was fluent in English and in Italian, so he was like an interpreter, kind of like a go-between, a liaison. He could talk to the MPs, he could talk to the prisoners. So as a result, he was very popular and very well known on the island. My understanding, we did a tour of Pedix Island about a month and a half ago, and they made a bunch of makeshift barracks for the prisoners. And they allowed them to cook, they allowed them free reign of the island. There was no bars, there was none of that stuff. So they, in order to make them feel at home, they would allow a lot of the Italian citizens that lived here in the United States to go and visit with them. Not so much to bring them food and to feed them, because my understanding also was that they cooked better than a lot of the local Italians. So,
yeah, they did.
and they were provided with everything. And my father often said something that stays with me my whole life, it will stay with me my whole life, is that the Americans treated him better than the Italians did. And that's why he loved it here so much, and he got to flavor it. And he wasn't treated, he was a prisoner of war, and he still said they were treated better than the Italian army treated him. So he loved it here. He became a citizen and lived here his whole life, and he's buried here, and he was proud to be an American, and he's a great guy. But the prisoners were there for a few years, and it's an interesting story, yeah.
Any other photos?
No, well,
Just a couple of him as prisoner. There's one as prisoner of war. He's my father's trademark was the hat and the cigarette, so he always had a hat and a cigarette. So he's always. There was this other one was on Pedix Island also. Same thing, just a bunch of prisoners.
a group of Italians. They took the pictures to send to their families as a group,
And then just a bunch of group pictures of him.
Basically what we have. This one more.
That's it.
That's about it.
That's pretty much the story.
That's the story. Of 50 years.